Hello there, wonderful people of YouTube. We are back with a special deck profile for you guys. I've got one of my closest buddies, and one might say one of the best Imperial players in the area. We've got Josh here.
Hello.
He recently piloted his IMPERIALDRAMON deck to second place at this past weekend's Ultimate Cup, so huge congrats to you, my guy. It's been great to watch you just like kill it lately, and it's really great to see you kind of get that last minute confidence boost going into Nat season. So super stoked for you, and super thankful that you're able to hop on and kind of do a quick deck profile for us.
Anything for you, Ben. Anything for you.
But yeah, before we hop into the video or the profile itself, any quick shout outs you wanted to give?
Yeah, first to you. You're always pushing me and making me better, and we spend many late nights practicing, you and I. So
Yes.
First to you.
Yes.
Secondly, to local Chicago area players. If you know who I am, then you know who I'm talking about. And shout out to Good Games in Chicago. It's a store that I tournament I'm the TO at. So big shout out to that store. And then finally to Brick City. It is the Canadian-based server I do most of my playtesting in. So shout out to those guys. I'm going to be nearly the player that I am today without those guys. So, and I'll give one more at the end. I got one more shout out at the end, but we'll save it.
For sure. But yeah, why don't you hop right into this bad boy?
Yeah, so we'll just ascend levels, I guess. We'll start at 2. 5 Eggaroos. This is pretty standard at this point. Imperial as a whole is pretty standard, but there's a couple cards that are like tech choices I think are interesting. But 5 eggs, 3-2 split. If I had it my way, it would just be 4 draws, but this 1000 does come up. It always is annoying when it does. The way I play the games, I just always want to draw cards. But this comes up in mirrors. It comes up in any deck that leaves out level 5, so that your pile draws 9,000 and crash through any 5. So it comes up. It's much better late game than early, but you have to play it, I think. If you want to do like a 4-1 defensible, if you want to do just 4 draws, I would also say go for it. I love drawing cards, but I do think at this point this is what you need, as much as it annoys me. All right, rookies then. It's pretty standard 14. I think 14 is the magic number for Imperial, because this deck, as much as people don't want to admit it and are haters, this deck is bricky as all hell, and you need to find multiple rookies every single game to even have a chance to play. So your 4 searchers, that's standard. That's I don't know what this means. If you want me to talk about it, I will, but I feel like that's easy given.
Yeah, those are pretty standard.
I do 4 promo V because, as I said in the eggs, I enjoy drawing cards, and this turbos me into everything that I need. So for that guy, and then my 2 flexes are one of this one. This one's really nice late game, because late you're gonna have everything in your trash. This one guarantees you have the exact level 4 you need, no matter what. And so I like the one of. And this one is the worst one. He is my favorite one to put in the raising turn 1, but other than that, he does nothing. Like, he is not a good searcher because he'll bottom all your 4s. He can search out Primo, which is nice, but his main thing is he has end of turn, so you have 9 end of turns, which I think is really nice. That one extra one does come up all the time, so I think you have to run one of him. As much as he sucks, he does have end of turn, and yeah.
Fair enough. And that was the BT16 worm, right?
Yeah, that's okay. No, which one? This one?
The one of.
Oh yeah, this is BT16. This is promo. Cool. Shout out to Ben. He got me these Gen Con 2 years ago. Those are the half weeks.
We were on a mission that day. We were hunting.
Yeah. All right, 4s. We have 4 BT12 XV and 1 EX1 XV. We have 3 BT12 Sting, 3 ST9 Sting, and then 1 Lydra. This is pretty not standard. I think I've been kind of rocking for the longest time. We'll talk about Lydra in a second, but for the longest time I had 4, 2, 3, 3. I've always been 3 on these, but this is easy. This is the best level 4 I think out of all of them. He is just, you get memory back and you have the jamming. You get the jamming out of him, and he is good for one late early swing. If you can get that swing in without having to worry about the ace or a blocker, he's really clutch. But there's so many blockers and aces in the current format, it doesn't happen much, but you still have the jamming variable, so it's okay. I would prefer to run another one of him, but we'll talk about Lydra. 3 and 3. Most people run 4-2. Again, my deck building philosophy is draw cards, always as many cards you possibly can. And so the way I see it is these two are effectively, in most cases, the same amount of memory cost. because they are both level 2 evos. You'll get one back on him, but if you're slamming them and need to end turn on it, this is 3 and get one back, so it's effectively 3 at the same time. And there's sometimes where you don't want to pierce. Magna's a big reason. Like if they have 2 bodies up for Magna, you don't want to trigger the end of the when Digivolving effect to become invincible. You don't want piercing, and you need to, again, this deck is bricky. You need to draw. So I'm never going to break up the split. I think 3-3 is perfect. I've been called a noob by several people that word exactly for doing this and not doing 4-2. But no, I truly think 3-3 is the answer, because if you see your entire deck, you have every answer in your hand. So 3-3 is the way to go. And if you're being choked and you only have Davis, you can still keep turn a little bit easier with this guy. So I like 3-3. That's never changing. This guy, I hate this card. I've hated this card for a very long time. You don't have inheritable. His effect usually does not come up because you just put evil into the back. But he is red. He is green. He is blue. He is an effective way to deal with floodgates if a situation calls for it. You can go 1 over the promo V, swing, use it to suspend something, and then swing, draw 2 cards, and then go to DNA. That's really nice. There have been some instances where I just poke with him into security, and then if he dies, I just armor purge and then go into one of these. So he's nifty. I think you do have to run him at 1, as much as I would rather it just be another one of these. He gives you some security in seeing the right color, and he lets you draw some cards and gets rid of floodgates. I would never, ever play more than 1 of him, but I do think he's necessary at 1 right now.
Fair.
Any questions there, my friend?
I know you were kind of flirting. I think this is a conversation maybe we can even save for the end, but you were flirting with like the Togamugas and a little bit more of the other armor stuff. I feel like if you're doing pure Imperial, right, Lydra by far is probably your better choice.
Yeah, the Hedgehog sucks. The Hedgehog is just a bad card, especially if you're playing more worms, more Vs than worms. You would never, I don't think you'd even consider playing Hedgehog Man if you're playing mostly Vs. I was playing the IMPERIALDRAMON Toolbox version. And that's why I had to play all the armors, and that's the only other green-blue armor. So, yeah, not Imperial. This is the only one I think currently that would work in Imperial.
Yeah. Last question about 4s would be, there's some lists in Asia that are kind of running or sprinkling in like one of the like Raid XV. Yeah. What do you think about that guy?
He just does it better. Like he just does it better.
Fair.
Like
I agree.
With Raid, you can't guarantee that the target is the floodgate.
Right.
And
he's not green.
And he's not green. So and the power on the Heritable is pretty neat, and like can't be in being indestructible by battle is kind of neat. But he's not green. He doesn't suspend. The Raid is scary because you can't guarantee it, and then he doesn't suspend the thing. So and doesn't have armor purge. This card's just better.
Yeah, for sure.
Some people in my play groups have been testing that and have liked it, and then most people have fallen out of it. I'm like, this doesn't work. So
yeah,
no for me, dog.
Fair enough.
All right, 5s. This is not going to be a discussion. There we go. There they are.
There they are.
They're my 5s. You want me to say anything? I don't know.
No, I think it's a pretty standard 4 of the BT16 pile, and then some people throw in maybe like a BT12 pile, right? The source strip. What do you think about that guy?
That's a meta call, I think. It depends on what you're going to see a lot of. People are like, it's really good into the mirror. It is. It gets rid of partition. It's really good into Magna. It is. It can strip out the Magna or whatever's in there, keeping him invincible. But Magna, I think, is already, just like pure Magna, is pretty kind of an auto win already for Imperial. That's a really easy matchup for me because of fighter mode ace and keeping you suspended so you can't attack in the first place without blinding ray and such. So I think it's win more against Magna. It's cool into the mirror, but the mirror, you would rather have him so your opponent can't unsuspend already. That's already a huge. It doesn't matter if they have partition because they can't unsuspend. So like, what are they gonna do to you? So
yeah,
it's okay. Like you could, but I'm about attacking. My playstyle is aggressive and attack, and that one doesn't really do that for me.
Fair enough. It worked for you.
Works for me. I would never say don't play the BT12 one. That doesn't fit my playstyle. That's more of a controller-based card. Yeah.
I think a good point too, right? It's like you kind of like, for everybody out there too, it's like you craft your decks based on how you want to play, right? And if you know how you want to play, you can definitely make that kind of judgment call as to how you want to do certain things or play certain ratios.
Yeah, absolutely. That's I think a discussion we can go into while we go through my matchups, because I think that's really important is crafting the deck to the way you play and not fighting against yourself throughout the day. You're already doing so much big thinking. You shouldn't want you adding like fighting your urges shouldn't be a part of that too. Your deck should be crafted towards so that encourages the way you want to play. So
Because we have definitely seen this deck evolve over the past, like, even just month.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know this, but your viewers may not. I've played Imperial since BT4. I have evolved with this deck, and I understand the cards like I understand very few other decks. So, the deck's always been crafted to my strengths, and that doesn't mean that this deck build might suck for some people, and it might work for some others. You gotta edit it towards the way that you want to play the game. If that's with BT12, and that's with the Raid XV, and you want to control the board more, by all means, I go to kill you as fast as I can. That's just the way I play. Level 6s, 2 BT16 dragon modes.
Oh, pretty guy.
1 star deck dragon mode, 2 fighter ace, 2 hex. So this is an untraditional lineup, mostly because my one of him. So the way I think about it is, this has basically become a 2 of just always. Because there's so many other options, and this one's searchable, and this is a great card. Like, if I can run it at 4, I try to, but the deck is just way too tight. This card is really good in almost all matchups. Digivolve really hurts, but that's mostly a Lord Knight discussion, and if you game plan around expecting to Digivolve, you can not even have to worry about it. So we should probably say that's a discussion of what happened in Lord Knight. But yeah, he's in here as one of my few tech choices. There's only a few slots open in this deck, and I chose this as one of them because he is searchable, and he came up several times because he can just put away the game himself. He's ridiculous. I would love to play more of him, but this guy is so unbelievably important that because he's searchable, you kind of just have to put him down to 1. You'll see him basically, and especially in my build because you draw the entire deck.
Yeah.
But yeah. I wish I had more, but I don't have the space. This guy just says no to tamer or hybrid decks, especially purple. Red is the one that has the best chance against it, but at very least it buys you a turn against red hybrid, and then you'll partition out. And then at that point, you probably just win on your following turn because you have the guys to go into Pile-Dramon again. And you've already done damage because you got the Hexagloss. That means you Pile-Dramon once already. So he does everything against hybrids. He is really good. Shoto, Mother, Control, Black Hybrid, whatever you want to call it. He's huge in that too. Get rid of the Shoto, beat down the Mother. Really good card. If you are serious about playing at like a regional level or above, I think you have to play this card. If you know that your locals doesn't play a lot of hybrids, I think you can get away with just cutting it entirely. It's all about what your goals are at the end of the day. I'm doing this the wrong way again. But
yeah, I mean, like, Hex just shuts down purple hybrid. Like, the amount of times I played against purple hybrid, and if I can get Hex out, regardless of the deck, like, it's just crazy how strong he is.
Yeah, he is obscenely strong. When he was first got released, I was like, they're gonna have to like choice restrict these two, because not saying you can't unsuspend and can't suspend. Like, what are you gonna do? Like, this combo is really gross. And
speaking of that combo, I'm imagining he's probably decent into the mirror too, no?
Yeah, he's great into the mirror. You get rid of the Davis and Ken. They can't suspend. After basically, there's going to be like 6 sources on that. So the Davis and Ken is gone to strip. So they're not going to be able to strip you out. And even if they go into it, you're going to be you're going to be too big to suspend based off the Pile-Dramon effect. So it just ruins everything. He's really good into the mirror. He's really good into, I guess, Magna too. He's just really, this card is really good.
There's a reason he's like a $20, $30 SR.
Yeah, he's silly. Fire Mode Ace is Fire Mode Ace. This card's really good. I do miss BT12 sometimes. I miss BT12 Fire Mode. It can clear boards. It's Giga Death on legs, but there's no space. And there's a direct correlation between how many dragons and fighters you can play. And so if I cut this for the BT12 dragon fighter mode, I now run 2 to 3, and it doesn't make any sense because you need the dragons for that specific fighter, and so it just doesn't make sense. So this was always the way to go, and this card's great. It's a great card.
Fair enough.
Paladin. This is Paladin mode. There it is. Actually, I don't think it's a great card. That might be a crazy take, but I think it's really just okay. Of course, it's great into purple. Like, it does great things against
Yeah,
purple, but
I was about to say.
purple runs a lot of removal, a lot, and it's pretty easy for them to access it. So what ends up happening is you get rid of the trash. They say cool, they kill this thing, and then they overflow 5, and then they kind of rebuild their trash or set up for their next turn, and you don't really accomplish that much. His offensive ability, the one attacking, is really nuts, but like it never happens because he's always just gone. He's just always removed immediately. Even if you're not over, like quite often this stack happens, and then it's gone, and you overflowed 9. So I used it most often as a shield for Primo. I didn't use it mostly for its effect. Every time I went into it, except for once in the last round, I got punished for going into this, and so it's a strange card. It's really good in purple sometimes, and they come. It's weird. People are like, why don't you put it to 2? I don't know if I even wanted it at 1 sometimes. Like, I use it mostly as a shield for Primo to give me that something to evolve into.
I think if you can find, like you said with Primo, right, like cheaper ways to get into it, I think kind of help it out a little bit. And I think it's also nuanced in the sense that you have to like time it well. Like a well-timed Paladin Ace can definitely change the game, whereas a poorly timed Paladin Ace, like you said, just absolutely like punishes you.
Yeah, and it's so hard to time that because you don't ever know what's in their hand, what they're plotting, or they're expecting the ace. You just never know that. So you just kind of have to, like, for him, he removes the body, so it's easier for you to time when they get rid of that body, so you know what's going to come after, what's not going to be on the field, and what's not. With him, he just says goodbye trash. The body's still there. You don't know. You can't possibly know what's going to come after with unless you remember exactly what was searched, and it's hard. He's a lot harder. He's okay.
Yeah, fair enough.
Check out my tamers. Here they are,
boys.
Yeah. If you want to get into a discussion about him, I think it's a whole entire video in itself. People have a lot of hot takes about him and banning him and this and that. I think that it could be a whole video you want to do with me, but he's a great card. It's a great card. This is the lifeblood in the deck. The deck does not work without this card. It is the only reason Imperial works again. For 2 years since the start of deck, Imperial did not work. This is the card that made it good again. You take away this, it's not good. I don't care how good this card is. This card is amazing, but you take away this, the deck is not even worth bringing. I don't care.
I 100% agree.
Yeah. So those are great cards. Those are really good. And then 3 Primo. This card's amazing. This card is unbelievable. And if we were gonna hit something in the deck and then fairly, I think it'd be him because he just kind of breaks games open. It's HBD but better. So, that's the deck list.
Fair enough. Now that we've gone through the list and you finished your tournament, obviously you did very well. So, I mean, the deck's doing really good. But were there any things that you felt like maybe you would change or anything that you might kind of tinker with moving forward? Or is this sort of locked in for Nats when we go to Orlando?
So it's not like it's locked in for like now. Like the deck isn't changing until LM comes out. LM's going to come out. Though I've been testing with 1 scramble. So 1 scramble is going to replace this guy. That's the one change I think at the moment because scramble is really neat. Scramble is pseudo Davis and Ken, or it rigs the deck so you get the exact rookie that you want when you need it late game. And I think that's really 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 neat. While also being decreased evo cost. I think this will be 1 scramble. And then we'll go from there. The rest of the deck seems pretty set, unless I keep like the decks don't change. The scrambles come out. The meta doesn't change. The decks don't change, but some of the strategies do a little bit. So a second one of these might be necessary depending on the speed and how the scrambles change that. But currently, only on the change I have right now is this guy becomes scramble, and that will suck. So I'll miss him because he can LTK. You got to play to maximize your chances, and I think scramble guarantee me a rookie basically acting as a 5th tamer sometimes or rigging it. So that's the only change in my mind right now. But until that comes out, deck isn't changing. I saw everything when I needed it. I high rolled the entire day.
Fair enough.
Yeah. When my decks are built around drawing cards, it's really hard to break when I get going because I just see everything.
So I mean, like speaking about just your day, right? Like talk us through like what your matchups were, like what you felt like were sort of easier matchups, what you felt like were some of the harder ones of the day.
Yeah, so round 1, I won 2-1 against Dragon Lynx, which is a matchup not too many people are familiar with, but as Ben knows, when in our testing group, one of our dear friends very much plays Dragon Links, and so I'm familiar with those cards and what they all do. And the guy was like, in the match, like, do you need me to explain these cards to you? Like, and the people aren't really familiar. I'm like, no, I got them. Like, I'm sorry, but I know these cards. I know you brought this to catch you by surprise, but you got me, and I'm not surprised. So that was I lost that one, and I lost the game 2 because I think I was missing XV. And so that just happens. Like, that's Imperial, so it just happens. But I won the round. Next round was Lord Nightmon. We can talk about that now. So yeah. Lord Nightmon, I think, is actually a pretty good matchup for Imperial. You can go about it 2 ways. Either you open the nuts and you just do it. Like, you set it all up. You dare them to Digivolve you and do enough damage to kill you, which they cannot. Like, that deck doesn't OTK, and if they pass turn to you, it doesn't really matter what they've left on the field. You just wrap it up. So if you open the nuts, you just win. Like, you just go hyper aggro. There you go. If you don't open nuts, which is more likely, you let them do it. You let them go first. You let them set up their board because they cannot OTK. And unless they have Ruin Mode, you have spent enough time to set up your tamers to find all your pieces, and then you counter. And they don't have a response to that because they've already used their Digivolve. Everything their trash shouldn't be too filled because you've let them go about it, and Imperial security is naturally pretty weak, minus this guy and this guy, because you have 14 rookies who are all like 1,000, and these guys are all like 4,000. So most of their stuff is living through security, and so their trash is kind of stuck because everything is underneath their guys, usually. And so then in that case, you just counterpunch, and you won the game that way because they're stuck, they're suspended. Even if you strip them out, they just don't have an answer anymore because they've used all the resources already. So I won that one 2-0. I went hyper aggro in both games, I think, if I recall correctly, and I just took it pretty quickly in that one. Against a really good player too, so I felt bad about it. But yeah, we take those.
Yeah.
Round 3 was my only loss of the day. It was against IMPERIALDRAMON Toolbox, which I think was hilarious because of how hard I was testing that deck for weeks heading up to this event. I decided that it's bad. And it's funny because my opponent also decided that it's bad. and he took it from me. Game 1, I didn't see IMPERIALDRAMON. What are you gonna do? And then round 2, it was game 2 was really close, and we got into overtime in game 2, and time was ticking down, and at that point, like, you're playing to draw, and I hate draws. I'd rather lose. Yeah. So I was going as fast as I possibly can to see if I can, like, even start a game 3, and so I ended up making misplays because I just wasn't giving myself the time to think. The entire day I streamed, so it's all on my Twitch. And if some people want to watch it, but going back and looking at that board state, I 100% believe I could have won that game too if I had even like a couple more minutes to think and gather myself. I play hyper fast, which Ben can confirm, but even at that level, how fast I was playing, I wasn't giving myself time to think at all. I was just acting. I think I could have won that game too, but I would have just drawn then, and I wouldn't have felt good. So guy was super nice. So I didn't mind. I can't. The one loss was the deck that I was saying was bad, and he himself agreed, and it's just funny. It's just funny. Round 4, Machine Dramon. That round was over in 10 minutes.
I was gonna say you feast on that.
Yeah, I don't know if you want me to go into that matchup. I just set the tamer, and they give me like 7 memory. They slam a 5. Like, you can't do that against
Strip all their sources.
Over and over and over again, yeah. And they keep giving me more and more memory, and it's like, you can't be doing that. So Machine Dramon's an easy win. Mother Shoto was round 5. I won that 2-0. That one was super interesting because I didn't see Hex in either game. Yeah, game 1, he didn't see Shoto until late, and then Dragon Mode suspend the Shoto win. And then he saw in game 2, he saw 2 Shotos early, and I just kept searching. I just kept searching until I found 2 Dragon Modes or Hex, and then I never found Hex, and I found 2 Dragon Modes, suspended them, and then just go for it. Gotcha. That's just luck. That's not a repeatable skill. You really do need the Hex in that matchup, and the fact that I 2-0'd it without it is not repeatable. I got very, very lucky there. Because
we also take those though.
Oh, absolutely, we take them. But the lesson to go away is not you don't need this guy against other Shadow. You do. Yeah. But this guy really, really helps because he insulates you from the aces and he suspends another Shadow. Because I had this too, and so if you wanted to ace me, you just give me free memory, buddy. Thank you, and a free and an extra attack. So Um, yeah, yeah. I felt bad because that guy was like, I'm prepared. I got Mother Shoto. Like, you got this. And it's like, I don't even have like, I have an out for you, and I don't even need it. So, yeah, you need this card. You need it. Don't act like you don't. This card helps immensely. I got super lucky. Couldn't find it, and yeah. Next round was Angels, which I think was the most interesting round of the day. That match was really back and forth. We went right up to time on that. I got it in 3. He got it. I got it round. No, he took game 1. Just because I never played against that deck before. Like, no one I know plays that deck, and so I was really I know what the Minimon does, but like I haven't seen the game plan in action. And so being like learning quickly that you do not want to be Angelomon and then Dimini locked and keep attacking and then saying okay heal, and like basically getting nowhere. So what I ended up doing was I was just playing my normal game, not really doing anything special. Around game 1, lost it because that doesn't work against Angels with this deck. And then game 2, I think I just went Hyper Blitz and just like kept swinging to ruin the security and get rid of the resources, and that worked out. Game 3, I did not have the resources to do that. I had to spend turns searching. And then what I ended up doing is sending out as many tamers as I could find and playing the source strip game and suspend and lockdown until I got to the point where I could swing the Pyledramons over the Anges. And cause I had a Dragon mode out just sitting there. And I made a second Pyledramon, just swinging over the Anges over and over and over again, getting the overflow and keep building stacks with the overflow. Because he couldn't ace, because I just had this out. Like, no matter what he did, it wasn't going to matter because I had. So that was the plan, and it worked. It worked. It was a really, really grindy game. It would have probably gone. He scooped pretty quickly in game 2, realizing what was happening. That he didn't have the time anymore, and so because he scooped, I had the time. Both of us had the time to really have a full game 3, which is a really important lesson. If you know you're not going to win that game, just scoop it, because the draws are not worth it. And if you think you can win the matchup, use that time in game 3 to really focus and win that matchup. Because if you just sit there in a losing situation and you go to time, and it's just going to hurt you. So it was a great call by him to just scoop it up. And then we had a full, really long game 3. That way, if you're going to watch one matchup, I think from my VOD, it would be the Angels one. I think the Angels one was a really great match.
Yeah, Angels is definitely a tough one to play against.
Yeah, round 7 was Levy.
Nice.
I think that's a really, really interesting matchup. A lot of Levy comes down to player skill and knowing when to pop the Biting Crush, knowing when to use the Evo to go into Levy X, knowing when to use those instead of just doing it immediately. I think that separates the good and the bad players. Is when, we play by effect. All right, get it out of here immediately. Don't do that. Wait for the optimal choice. The player that I played was good. He knew what he was doing. He pretty much just locked me down game 1. Game 2, he didn't have anything, and I just broke through him. The security was free. He had nothing in his hand. I just had everything, and I high rolled. Game 3 was a back and forth. He claims he made a misplay, and then he tried to take it back, and he literally asked me, "You won't let me take that back, will you?" And I responded, "I can't at this level. I'm sorry." And he goes, "I just have to ask." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I get it. Like, it's fine. I get your asking, but the answer is no." And he's like, "Come on, can you please?" And I'm like, "No, no." And so he, I don't know what really the misplay was. He played a Godly from trash, and then he just like kind of like started saying he's making. I don't know what his plan actually was. It didn't seem to be to misplay. Like he had nothing else in his trash to play. It was like I don't know what he was trying to do. So he plays out the Godly, and then I think he like plays in Bound Wisdom to pass turn. I don't know what he was trying to do. But from that point, the only
other thing I could think about at that point would be like a Labra, if he's like missing a Serb X or something to bring back a dark animal. But
yeah, but I don't think that was in his trash. I don't know what was going on. Yeah. So he says he lost as the misplay. I can't confirm or deny that because I don't know what he was actually trying to do. He was very salty after. So we take those, I guess. I guess I don't know what he was trying to do. Round 8 was Purple Hybrid. First game was pretty simple Imperial. I took that. Their security is easy to blitz through. It's just tamers and little guys. So turn my Davis Road. I don't care. I'm going to use Pyledramon and blitz through. And then game 2 was, I think, really, really, really neat. He was choking me, and I didn't have my dual tamer, but I'm gonna set this up. This was unbelievably cool. So I had Standard Davis, and then I had, where are you? I have this all sorted out, and I still don't know where things are. I had this in raising, and then I was pretty bricked up, and I didn't know what to do because I wanted to choke and not die. And so I played this to leave him at 1. And I forget exactly what he did, but he passed me back to turn with this. And from this point, I went through, I did 6 checks, and I won.
I mean, that VMon, you have 2 bodies out on board, 2 VMons that give you memory when you Evo. I mean, I can definitely see a world where if you have all the right pieces, you go crazy.
Yeah, so Lydra is future. I went Lydra, swing security. That is 2 checks. That's 1 check, draw 2. And then I went, I think I went XV, and then DNA these, 2 more checks. And then on the second check, he hit Rivals and killed Pyledramon.
Which you just partition and do it again.
And do it again. And now I'm drawing a million cards. And at that point, I have Primo. And so I'm Primoing it into this one. Spit it out again. I did 4 Pyledramons in that turn with no Tamer and 2 rookies. And it was like the most filthy I felt all day. I didn't have the Tamer. And then the guy just hung up. He just hung up. I don't blame him there. It was really, really, really gross. Obscene high roll. And it was great though. It was great. I have clips up from the stream that showed how smooth the deck is. It would have been that. And then round 9 was against Galaxy Mirage, which
yes,
we are local to the person I believe is the best Galaxy Mirage player in the entire world, Charles.
I mean, I wouldn't even just say best Galaxy player. He's probably just one of the best players, period, I'd say.
Yeah, absolutely. And that I play test against him multiple times a week at locals online. I played against him and doing that a lot. Now, I will say I have no idea how you're supposed to beat that deck. I have no idea what you're supposed to do to win it consistently. But I do know how he acts and what I can expect when he's playing it. And so when I see I'm playing against somebody else, he's literally, not disrespectfully, but he's literally not that guy because he's not Charles. And so there's other plays that are coming that crack open windows that Charles would not let me have. And so game 1, he just beat me with, lockdown, Hex, Mirage. I cannot play the game. That's it. Game 2, I used Hex to Hex is Hex. And we used that to buy ourselves a turn to get the Pyledramon and go off, and we take that. And then game 3, fortunately for me, unfortunately for the sake of the match, he could not find a level 4. So we just take those. Because level 4s in that deck, all the searchers and the draw, and that's how you exit the rest of the deck is the level 4s. And I don't know if he played Ugo in that list, but I didn't see Ugo either. So that's a great recipe for me winning, is them not having any search power. But hey,
sure,
we high rolled all day. Might as well high roll the last game of the day.
Right. So
yeah, great player. Just literally not the person
is
that
a
I
game
play
mechanic.
against. Yeah. And I didn't really brick all day. I had two games where I bricked, and they didn't cost me the match. So yeah, deck was crazy. I think that a lot of it is, as I said before, is this deck is fine-tuned to exactly how I like to play the game. And that might be for everyone. Some people want to have that extra piercing check or the extra memory gain to keep turn. I want to make sure I draw a million cards. So if you get rid of my first Pyledramon, I am guaranteed to have another one. And that's just how I am in every single deck that I play. So yeah, give me some questions. What do you got for me?
So I guess, we've seen in the past, couple big tournaments, right? Obviously Charles with his Galaxy build, but I mean, over in Europe, over in South America, my boy's been topping with Mirage, right?
Of course.
How do you, with your deck that likes to draw, what are your thoughts there?
You know what's cool about my cards that like to draw is they don't make me draw immediately. I play this guy. Look, I'm not drawing. I'm playing him. I'm not drawing. And that's 5 rookies right there already in my deck that already draws a ton that I'm going to have at the right time to not pass turn.
Sure.
You're right. I will swing the Pyledramon. I will pass turn, but at that point I have stripped you down and froze you. So the next turn I'm ready to remove it. and we live the fight again, or I just go faster than you. And I just blitz through your security, and you and I test all the time. You've seen it happen, and there's times where I just don't, and you win. That is just a race, and that is what it is. If the longer the game goes, I do think I have a slight edge because I can just freeze you over and over and over again. But there is a sweet spot there where it's like, if I don't win quickly, you have a pretty open gate to win through like maybe turns like 4 through 7, and then once we get to grind state, I think I have it. So it's a really interesting back and forth. I like to draw, and I didn't see Mirage this entire day, but that doesn't mean my deck doesn't work against Mirage. I play against you all the time.
I have experienced many a beatdown, and vice versa. Like you said, I think it's a very good back and forth that we can see there.
Right. So it's just we just saw, as we saw in Europe, like Mirage whooped Imperial, but Imperial was there, and I don't know what that guy's matchups were, but I'm assuming he saw Mirage earlier. So it's just a back and forth. The deck can do it. It's just a matter of what did you open, what did I open, what are our top decks, and that's really it. In terms of just like overall meta, like Mirage is just probably better in the meta currently, but I don't think it's by a wide margin, and I think it's all pilot driven. Like I don't want to face you on Mirage, and you don't want to face me on Imperial. Like there's different things. So
unless it's in the finals.
Yeah, of course, right. We'll be fighting. No, then we'll be fighting to go to Tokyo, but then we'll both get first, second, anyways, and we'll cuddle together on the airplane.
Any other matches that you feel like are difficult to navigate but doable? Like I guess considering like the meta, right? Like kind of like the core group of stuff in the meta. We've kind of touched upon Lord Knight already. We've touched upon Mirage, plenty as well. You know, Red Hybrid. Thoughts there?
Yeah, that's a really interesting one because they can just blitz through your security on like turn 2 or whatever, and then you're down. But but there's pretty often tamers in my security, and you can't. You need an extra attack to finish the game. That's just how the game works. So you take all my security. I don't care, but you better be ready to either deal with the ace that's coming if I suspend your tamers and the dragon went out, or I'm going through security faster, or I have the hex, or it just. There are things, and I dodged that matchup too, but it wasn't a matchup that I was scared of.
Sure. And last question is, are you ever gonna fully bling that deck out? Because that deck is plenty blinged out already.
You know what? I'm happy you asked me this, because 3 of my opponents, at least 3 of my opponents were like complaining about how blinged out my deck was and calling me rich, which is very funny because. I have a lot of things, and Rich is not one of them. But you know this, but what ended up happening is I won one of those 3-on-3s, right, with this guy and the Beelzemon, and I sold traded the Beelzemon for two of this guy, a Stingmon pre-release. Where is it? One of these. So the trade was those 2, these, and $80. And again, I've been playing this deck since BT4, so like I get them when I can. And so, as you can see, I am missing 2. I am missing 1. I have none of the pre-release of this guy. I have none of these. Like I just have 1. So if you want to give me a deal, if one of your viewers wants to give me a deal, reach out. But I plan on selling that Susanamon and using it at least partially to finish this up, because God knows I can't afford it normally. But it was funny. They were like, "Oh, you got a blinged out deck, and you must be pretty good at the game." Like, come on, man. I just got lucky and won a tournament and sold the card. It's not that deep.
But you did have a final shout out that you wanted to make. So what was that?
Yeah, big shout out to Dan Vang. Dan is the reason that I got serious about Digimon. It's the reason I picked up ImperialDramon. His videos early on, he won like every tournament back in like BT4 with Imperial, and I didn't grow up with Digimon. I knew what it was. Like I didn't watch the shows. I didn't know any of the characters except for like Agumon and like Omnimon. Yeah. And then I go to locals, my first ever deck. Bandai sent me like a promotional folder and told me to download the app, and they hooked me with this app. And then I went to locals. I build like common, rare D Brigade, and I go to locals and I see someone using a blue deck with a dragon with a laser on his back who just keeps attacking over and over again, and I'm like, oh my god, I need that right now. And then I go on YouTube and I'm watching videos of just Dan Vang winning over and over and over and over again. And so eventually I summoned the nerve to DM him, and he's been a great resource to me ever since. He's a great friend, and I would not be good at this game without him. And so he's the true Imperial master. Fun fact: he's never actually beaten me with Imperial before.
Oh,
but
is that a challenge? Is that a challenge?
He's always
Fight night coming. Fight night coming.
It's always open. We played multiple times, and I get it. But he without him, I'm not in the same place. And I love these cards because he was so good at it, and it showed me that like there's a guy with a dragon. There's a dragon with a laser on his back that transforms. Like he's just a cool dude. So yeah, big shout out to Dan, Gaia Force Gaming guys. The best.
Yeah, and I mean on that note too, I mean, I think the same goes for you and me. I mean, I think you're one of the few people, or first people that really brought me into the game too, and I definitely wouldn't be here playing the game and enjoying it as much without you. So huge shout out to you for bringing me in. Love you for it.
Love you so hard.
But yeah, no, thank you again for hopping on too and doing this. It's great. Hopefully you all enjoyed as well who's tuning in. Hit up Josh if you have any questions. Check out his Twitch and his Discord. I'll drop links to both of those down in our video description. So yeah, support the boy, support our channel too. Hit that like and subscribe button if you like the content, and hopefully we catch you on that flippy flip.
Tell Ben if you want it. If you want a Pulsemon deck profile, I got it. I got max rare Pulsemon. People want Pulse content. I'm always available. So let them know. You guys want Pulsemon stuff? Tell them to bring me back. I got a list that works, and I've topped locals with it many times, and it's very funny.
Fair enough. Alrighty, folks. See you later. Bye bye.